Always remember that you can make a difference in Hancock County. We'll catch you next time. Over the last couple of months, myself and probably the majority of the guys you'll see today on this show, on this podcast, have probably ran into the same situation or the same questions or concerns. And then it just goes down to what does your social media strategy look like for 2021? Everybody's just different. And that's why I just wanted to get everybody together. I mean, for me, mine's podcast driven. The way that I can create content out of podcasts, all these guys are the same way. Being able to create content out of podcasts and using the content within the episode and the show to create quality pieces of content for your business, for your personal brand, and for the overall community that you might be serving in. So I wanted to grab my I guess my podcast guys, my podcast mentors. These guys are the ones that made me I guess into the half of a podcaster that I am today. Even though I can't even send a Zoom invite or a calendar invite link to anybody to make this go smoothly. So I apologize. But leave it to the 25-year-old millennial technology nerd to screw that one up. So, but boys, I appreciate you all joining the show today and taking some time after this chaotic last couple of weeks, and look forward to bringing some great stuff to everybody.
Thanks for inviting us, dude.
Yeah. Dude. Thank you.
For as hard as it was, thanks for inviting us.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Yeah, he's not bitter about it or anything.
I just want to, now that we're officially recording, I just want to say you are the worst podcast inviter in history. I just want that to formally be on the record. I think you were hoping I wouldn't say that on the actual podcast, but I just want that to be formal.
Well, I'll take it because the only record that I hold currently is at my high school, and it's for the most turnovers in a basketball game. So I'll take something that has nothing to do with sports. So we'll go.
You're on the up and coming. You're going up.
Let's go. So I guess kind of go around here, going from my screen left to right and down. Starting with you, Bradley Flowers. For those who don't know Bradley is the owner and founder of Portal Insurance and co-host of the Insurance Guys podcast down in Alabama, where it's a lot better weather conditions than what we've got here in Indiana, and probably over in Illinois like Cass and up north like Hanley. Right. But Bradley, once again, thank you for taking your time to come on today. What does 2021 social media strategy look like with you? Probably a lot of the same stuff for 2020. But for those out there in the world, business leaders, business owners, entrepreneurs, or even insurance nerds, what do you have for everybody today?
I'm glad you clarified Alabama's better. Weather. You know, we're first in football, last in everything else. But you know, for us at Portal, it's I first built my first agency, which was a captive agency, basically off of my personal brand. Because when you're a captive agent, you have to separate yourself from every other captive agent that looks and sounds and talks and sells the exact same products as you. And then that's kind of what carried me to the point of Portal. And we've been obviously relying heavily on that for the last 2.5 years or 2 years that we've been open. This year is getting more back to building the brand of Portal, more insurance-y type content. Not that the personal brand stuff is going to stop. If anything, we're going to do more of that, but it's just, you only have the bandwidth sometimes to do one or the other.
That's right.
And so a lot of that, but as far as outbound marketing and like, what are we trying to target and things like that, I am solely focused on my current book of business and how can we take $3,500 accounts and turn them into $8,500 accounts. And, we have a little bit too much monoline, simply because when you're a brand new agency, you got to get revenue and you can get revenue and you don't care what it looks like sometimes, unfortunately. And so we are heavily focused on doing that, marketing to our current book. And honestly, we had a extremely good retention number for 2020. A lot of that was because we got hit with 2 hurricanes directly, and people don't cancel after hurricanes because a lot of times there's open claims or what have you. And carriers, I've still got one carrier that's still under binding moratorium from Hurricane Sally in September. So you have a lot of that too, where carriers don't want to take people. But we're focused on that, improving our service processes from a marketing standpoint and from an actual service process standpoint.
Now,
what does that look like, Bradley?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
What's that?
Sorry, Mitch. I went into podcast mode. That's what happens when you have podcasts on the show.
True.
That's what this is about.
My bad.
So go ahead, Ryan. Go ahead, Ryan. Go ahead.
What does what look like?
What is like, so I'm interested in, like, how do you take so you have a $3,500 monoline account, and which, by the way, in New York, $3,500 is like a fully baked out package account up here.
Yeah.
So how do you take a $3,500 monoline account? Like for you, what does that look like to get it to 85? Like, what are you actually doing?
So obviously your typical type stuff, emails, segmenting our clients. These are our monoline accounts, things like that, Facebook custom audiences. And honestly, you're going to like this, Hanley, just real old school calling people on X dates.
Amen.
And the other side of that too, that's working really, really, a lot of old school stuff blended with new school stuff that helps and kind of builds that foundation of, hey, we're going to ask you about this the next time we talk to you. But there is, speaking personal lines and really commercial too, but there's no homeowners insurance policy in the state of Alabama that's not getting a premium increase this year that didn't decrease coverage. Like if everything stays the same on your policy, you're going to get an increase. And so for us, it's, hey, yeah, this policy went up, but we can offer you this product here. And now you're packaged together. You get the discount here, you get the discount here, and we might save you money on this product. So it kind of offsets that. So it's a lot of that. For us, if we have a customer calling in or we're calling a customer and they're complaining about a rate increase, and we can write them another product that offsets that rate increase, not that you only want to sell on price, but we can offset that rate increase. That's a huge win for us because the customer's happy and we increased our book of business.
Right.
Can I ask one more question, Mitch?
I guess.
So,
did I guess?
I guess.
Bradley, what is your take? So I we're all part of these different groups, and if you even insinuate that you would sell on price in one of these Facebook groups, you get deluged with D-bags who are going to go, we sell on relationship only.
Yeah. In every insurance Facebook group ever, everyone sells on value and nobody writes state minimums.
Yeah, no one has ever sold on price. No, everybody has a 3-step process to build this perfect relationship with every one of their customers. So I'm not afraid to say that I'd say maybe 50% of the time, maybe more, I am just hardcore selling on price. Hey, here's your package and it's cheaper. You're paying less.
Well,
hey,
not
that's
only that,
good news. That's good news for
that.
everybody listening. That's good news for everybody listening.
And I say that in my spiel a second ago, like, not that you only want to sell on price, half for the people because I don't want them to take that as gospel, and the other half for the people in the Facebook groups that are going to rip me up later, right?
Hey, I got you.
Here's what I say to that. I say price is a factor in every single transaction, whether you want to believe it or not as an insurance agent.
Well, and
you
then
can sit here and say we only sell on value, but even if you provide the most value possible, price is still a factor in that transaction. And what I tell people is you need to figure out what do you add as the value add, if nothing else, to that customer. And you also have to understand that you're not the end goal. You're the thing that gets the people to the thing. Whether it's opening a business, whether it's buying a house, buying a car, whatever, you're not the end goal. Like, they don't give, after you sell the insurance policy, they don't give a crap about that value. They're wanting to get the car or wanting to get the house, And so we try to do things, just to give you an example, we do a lot of marketing consulting for our community here. Now that I have actual marketers in my office, we had a commercial client, decently sized account, about 3 weeks ago that called me out of the blue, and he's like, hey man, I'm putting this marketing campaign together. I have these questions, blah, 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 blah. Right? It's a sanitation account. And I sat there for 30 minutes and helped him draw this campaign. Basically what it is people sign up for his service online, and I helped him do a campaign that retargeted the people that didn't finish the purchase. Right? A picture of a trash can in a grocery cart. Bradley, and I drew it out for him, and I stopped and I said, this guy was sitting in a room of people with a marketing problem, and he says, I'm going to call my insurance agent. Not patting myself on the back, but ain't nobody else around here offering that.
Yeah,
No, but what you did,
figure out what that ad is.
but what you did, and not many people might know this, but when you started the your little local niche part podcast, you had that guy on your show, correct?
I did.
Hey,
So
good,
you-
don't.
Good.
So
Good.
you at the beginning had him started a local niche podcast, had him as a guest on your show. I don't know if you wrote him prior to that or if you wrote him after that, but what
Didn't
you
write
did,
him for like a year.
okay, so he had this guy on his podcast, didn't write him for a year, come maybe renewal X date, whatever it was,
Yeah.
followed up, he thought of Bradley. And not only that, Bradley started adding value to that guy prior to even touching his insurance policy. And that, for me, that is what it's about. And who else is doing that?
Tell
Nobody.
that story to pat myself on the back because everybody in this room has awesome things that they do, but that's, being that it may be that you're the resource that when they want to know where they can get a good steak at, they can call you. I know that's stupid, but I mean, that's adding some kind of value. And so for me, that's how I avoid selling on price while still sell on price. I mean, because like Hanley, I would argue that more than 50% are price plays.
Yeah. I mean, we have minimums. So I won't write below 100, 300. And that is a hard line for our agency. If someone says I'm only do 5,100, we just say, that's fine. Just call someone else. I'm perfectly fine with that. And it's only happened twice that I haven't been able to, and both of them were young kids and they probably weren't even really a good fit for the agency anyway. So, but the truth is there are many times, and I think this is particularly true with personal insurance, where our value is finding them a better rate. That's the value, right? Like, yeah, sure, you want to make sure they have good coverage. And I never advocate dropping coverage to save on price and that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
But if someone's paying $500 more than they should be for home insurance and you can find them a better deal and they're properly covered, well, aren't you selling on price? I mean, you're just fine. Your value is, hey, I have good market knowledge and I can find a better fit for you from a price perspective that maybe the other agent's carrier sculpting. Maybe the other agent is lazy as hell. Maybe they don't have access to the market, right? That's the value. And I guess my point is what I don't like are these hard and fast black and white lines that we try to draw to like value signal, like somehow we're
Finger
this
wagging.
When it's like, what we're all trying to do, make a freaking living and do right by our clients. And
Right.
I think that if
and
you
then
can save
too-
someone money and sell on price and do a good job for them, amen.
Well,
Heath, go ahead.
I was just going to say, let me put my carrier hat on for just a second. Let me ask you a question.
No one cares.
Hey, Jason. Come on.
No, we care what you say, just not the carrier side.
Timing of that was so perfect.
Dude, Cass, you
I
watch your
care
mouth.
about what you say, just not the carrier side. Go ahead, Heath. Come on, baby.
All righty.
I can.
So just a question. So best price, you're using a rater, you got 1, 2, and 3. If 1, 2, and 3, all three destroy the other guy's price, are you selling number 1 every time, or you would still go number 2 or 3 depending on the product?
That's
I
the
think-
misconception, okay? Because I argue with carriers all day long about raters because now we have Tarmica coming on the scene, and
Right.
I'm along with Hanley, I know, and probably Cass are trying to convince every carrier to go on Tarmica. And I had a carrier the other day that is a perfect small BOP carrier that has APIs that tomorrow could go on that platform, and they're like, oh, well, we know it becomes a price war. And it's just a race to the bottom if everybody's on there. And while I know carriers think that, and while I know there are situations where that comes into play, I happen to know that only 13% of the time is the cheapest carrier bound in Tarmica. Can't disclose where I got that information. 2, at that point, it doesn't become a price play to me. It becomes, okay, you're talking about a small BOP. You're all going to be within $100. Now, if somebody's $1,000 and everybody else is $400, we're not writing the $1,000 one.
I'm going to give you a perfect example of this. This happened yesterday.
Let me finish my punchline.
Yeah,
at that
point your
point,
punchline.
it becomes who is the perfect carrier for that risk, not who is the cheapest.
I think there's other factors. Here's another factor.
There is, yeah.
This just happened yesterday. $500 BOP. Kid calls me, needs help. Tarmica, $500 BOP, right? Whack, get all the way through. You know who I went to? The easiest carrier to work with.
Well, but here's the thing.
Systems matter. So like, I get it. Like, and I've said this a million times. I love Hanover. They have incredible products. Their systems are atrocious. They're a travesty. They're so difficult to work with from a system standpoint that it keeps me from writing business with them unless I have to. And I love them. I'm saying their products are great. Their people are great. You call, you get help. Every customer, I've had 2 customers have claims with them, 5-star claims handling on the back end. Great company. Their systems. So I look at that and I say, okay, I can place this BOP with Chubb. I can place it with Liberty Mutual, or I can place it with Hanover, right? Those are my 3 carrier options for this particular risk. Hanover's system, terrible to deal with. Account's too small for me to deal with it. If it's a bigger account, obviously I'll go through all the nonsense, but I'll deal with it. But a small BOP, nope, not going to happen. Liberty Mutual, I don't really have a great relationship with them besides the fact that I'm appointed with them. So they're kind of like I'll use them for some stuff, but Chubb, it's click, 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 done. Great service, good product, easy to use. 15 minutes later, I got paid in full, move on with my life. And here's a young kid who's starting a business that now has insurance. And I'm like, that's how I made that decision. All 5 were $500 and some cents. And that's how I made that decision.
And so that goes to prove the point, and to go back to all those haters in those rooms or the groups that you talk about. You're not, just selling on price. You're selling on the best product and the best service and the best carrier. And so just to debunk those haters that Bradley said is going to blow him up later, you're not doing that. You're actually doing right by the customer and by your agency.
Well, Heath, what's going to happen is if there was actually a live stream right now, I would be getting trashed for writing a $500 BOP right now. If there was actually like a ticker on the side, they'd be like, Hanley writes $500 BOPs. He doesn't understand them.
But it's stupid because a lot of those, and I write a ton of sole proprietor new business BOPs like that guy.
They're going to grow.
And I've had 3 that have grown from $450 minimum premium with Western Reserve Group. If I get that call, I already know I'm going to Western Reserve Group. I'm going to quote it. I can bind it and be done with it within an hour, if at the longest. But those 2 of those clients or 3 of those clients have now gone into the $3,000 to $5,000 premium accounts because now, and they got comp. So talk crap all you want, but those turn into bigger accounts. And for me, I'm sitting here trying to build a book of business that I haven't had. So the first 2 years, I'm trying to write everything that comes to the plate, no matter what it is. Excess. So I'm just hustling to writing every single thing. But you never know when that $450 account runs into a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 account, and then who knows where it could go from there.
Where you lose in that scenario is if you write it and forget it and never touch base with it.
That's exactly right.
There you go.
Yeah,
and then they get to the point of the step up and they
cross sell the personal, ask for a review on Google, ask for referrals, right? I mean,
no, you're right. My very first account I ever wrote on the agency side was a $750 BOP, and a year and a half later, it was a $35,000 account, and I wrote his auto, his parents' auto, their home, his girlfriend's home and auto. Ended up turning into a $50-something thousand.
And you have 12,000. You have 1,200 clients, and then it happened twice. To me, that doesn't make sense. So that's just the way that I see it. Now, where I'm going to go back to Hanley's point is people are shallow-minded, because that's how it doesn't work in my agency. That doesn't mean that's not how it's supposed to work in Hanley's. One of the things I would advise us all do is quit hanging out in those free Facebook groups. I literally unfollowed every one of them because I just can't take it. Like, I get so frustrated at the advice I see that they're giving new young people. I'm like, oh my gosh, don't tell them that. I just think people are very, very shallow-minded. So,
well, I think I tend to be my way. I know Cass is a whale hunter now.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. That's what I'm trying to say. What you're doing is different than me.
It's an incredible way to virtue signal, Cass. I think it's absolutely.
Here we go with these fucking words. Oh, excuse me. Sorry.
No, because I don't care if Cass. I don't care if you say the F word. I won't bleep it out.
Sorry. So let me. But
my point is saying I agree with you 100%. I'm busting your chops. I think you're right. I tend to be
for me.
I have this weird thing where, like, I listen, Cass. You and I have talked about it. Obviously, I'm a disciple of Carruthers, and I'll probably never write an $800,000 account. I'll be completely honest.
Yes, you will.
Yeah, you will.
Well, I mean, I would have to prospect it to write it. To me, I really I guess my
Hard to
point
do that
is
when you're new agency, because you make 6 months without a
I
sale.
also think my point is I just like helping people. Like my disposition is this kid calls me. He's starting a small business on a main street in a town that I live in, and I cannot say no to him. I just can't, and I don't care.
What's that? Who's
That's
that?
legit.
Who's that guy working for? He's probably if he's let's say a contractor, he's probably working underneath a general contractor. Okay, so maybe as that kid grows, so you're talking about not writing a $100,000 account. That general contractor could be that $100,000 account. So if you're taking care of that customer the correct way, you might get yourself into a good situation. Or if that general contractor is asking for a COI, that's a good lead way for you and to start talking to that general contractor.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not afraid to write a big account. All I'm saying is or know how to get to them. I guess my point is I will probably always write small accounts, even if they're not the most profitable for my business, simply because
You're helping.
my disposition is I can't not help people.
Right.
I can't. I've tried to be like, you know what? I just am not a good fit for you. You know what I end up doing? Spending freaking 15 minutes trying to find the right agent for someone else to call.
Yeah.
And I just, so maybe that is part of me not being, the most optimized business, but I do think we just have to figure out what fits for us. For me helping that kid yesterday, it took 25 minutes out of my day. And you know what? I felt like $1 million afterwards. Wrote me a thank you note.
So but this is how silly this is. Not you, people that give you a hard time. It's like, I guarantee you, there are people who are sitting on their damn Facebook and they don't realize that their staff's out there writing $500 accounts. And how many of them are writing the $500 motorcycle without cross-selling the auto and home? That still takes 15, 20, 25 minutes, right? And then when you talk about, because I got a lot of notes here, I'll wait until I'm asked. But one of the things you said, Hanley, is that people go on simplicity. If you know how I know that that's absolutely true, every new hire we train on the radar and all the companies, in the first 2 or 3 weeks, we all of a sudden start getting a bunch of Progressive quotes from them. And what it is they start figuring out like, hey, to do all these quotes coming in, if I just go to Progressive and we have to stop them and say, listen, they may be the easiest to deal with, but we have other carrier commitments here. Every new employee falls down that Progressive trap. That tells me they're the easiest to deal with.
Well, let's ask this question. Let's ask this question on the Progressive side, because this is how we take it. And we don't use Tarmica. We don't have a rater system. I mean, I'm literally.
You don't have a calendar system, let alone Tarmica.
Yeah, you can't even email without an IMAP pop, whatever the hell that is.
They're killing you, Mitch.
He's running his agency on an Excel spreadsheet.
He writes it on a note. He writes it on a note and he hands it to someone, and then they drive somewhere and they put it into the computer, and then that's how the emails go out.
Don't worry, I'm taking notes. Don't worry, I'm taking notes.
Mitch's policy download system's a lady named Brenda.
Yeah.
Karen.
Not Ivan's, it's Brenda.
No, okay, but
where I was getting at with that is like, for me, I'm not using any rater system. So if we're talking personal lines accounts, so when someone calls me and they immediately talk to me about Progressive, but not when they're with them, they say, oh, I just went and quoted myself with Progressive Direct. It's probably telling me two things. One, that they've either had a shitty driving record and the risk is probably not a good account for us to write. So for me, I might even, like you say, trying to write everything and trying to be helpful. I think there's a point where being helpful at a certain time and understanding that your time might be worth more than helping that tough risk personal lines account that could have caused more risk, and loss ratio could screw you. And at the end of the day, you're pissed because profit sharing ends at the end of the year and you're getting screwed because you wrote 3 guys that have had DUIs in the past 5 years. Say you write a piece of business, personal commercial lines. What are you each individual's doing? I guess maybe Hanley, we can start with you. What are you doing on a follow-up basis that you're able to get and create social media or content out of that? Obviously, we can ask for a review, like, comment, or share our page, whatever it is. What kind of process are you doing?
So I have it set up to ask for a Google review or whatever. An investment of time and energy that I have coming in 2021 is going to be Donna. That's going to plug into Now Certs and help me, with their centimeter score, help me better understand what I have. And really one of the things about Donna that I really love, and if you haven't heard of Donna, just Google Donna /4 agents and you'll see
not
it.
Brenda, not Brenda, Mitch.
Not Brenda.
Donna.
Or you can go back
Bonna, not the woman who sends out Mitch's emails through his IMAP pop system, but Donna for agent. Donna for agent.
Here. Or you can go back to my episode last week and listen to Ron Schroyer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was a great episode.
That was a great episode.
Ron Schroyer talks all about Donna for agents.
Here's
my point is that so I and then what I'm doing today, and I'll be completely honest, I have my follow-up sequences mapped out. I just straight haven't had time to kind of build them into my CRM yet. So what I'm doing is I do have a automated email that goes out for Google reviews. I do usually the next day after someone signs, I will send them a Loom video. Thank you. Just, hey, just wanted to say thanks. That's it. Just wanted you to know, wanted to take, 2 minutes just to let you know that I appreciate you doing business with agents, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then the Google review, and then I'll put a follow-up task for cross-sell personal lines insurance, or don't have the workers' comp, ask about that or whatever. Usually usually it's the other way. Usually I have the comp. I'm going after the bot, but that's what I'm doing today. Making sure I have follow-up tasks, the Google review ask, and I think I love and have gotten tremendous feedback from the Loom video, which use any tool you want.
Is it a pre-recorded video or do you record it?
No, I'll just do a simple, hey, this is Ron, hey, obviously they know it's me. Hey, I just wanted to say thank you. I'm going to keep it brief, but I wanted to take the time so you know how meaningful it is to me that you would choose our agency and we're blah, 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 that. So
another great idea off of that.
That's great, Hanley.
Another idea, what I've been doing is it might be that customer, obviously trying to get them more engaging and following and liking the page, whether it's my personal page or even the insurance page. But if it's on the insurance page and they're on Instagram or Facebook, not just sending them a thank you or a video via email, but that's a great way for them to find you on Facebook or Instagram easier, is you do the front end work and send them a DM video thanking them. I think I did something similar to you, Bradley. It's kind of just
reminded me of my favorite. You just reminded me of my favorite insurance Facebook group question. Should I friend request my clients on social media? What are you trying to hide? Like, what? I don't understand.
So taking that a step further, here's what I don't understand. Okay, so let's say Rogue Risk writes that $500 bot. He talked about yesterday that he helped that guy so well. Why not put a video of that guy in front of a camera saying, Ryan Hanley helped me so much in my agency. I love that guy, whatever. He was so helpful to me. And put that on your social channel. I never see agencies do that. I don't understand why not. And if you're going to say because someone else is going to poach my client, I think that's an ignorant response.
Well, I think Bradley does that. I think it's a tremendous idea. I don't do it simply because right now, I'll be honest with you, I just don't have the time to do that. The Loom video is really for me, I'm trying to get escape velocity. So I have a notebook this thick of shit that I want to do at this agency, and that once we get up to ramming speed is going to be maybe to you guys it wouldn't be another level, but I think it's another level for most of the people that operate in this industry. I'm not there yet. I still have a shit ton of gravity pulling me back down, and I'm trying to just get out. So once I'm out and can run, and God willing, I'm going to have my first employee in 2 weeks. I'm putting in an offer this week to my very first account manager. So she'll be employee number dos. And just the idea of this woman joining my agency is like.
Is her name Brenda?
Her name is not Brenda. Nope, it's not Brenda.
I can't wait to see you get to that point at Rogue where the gravity's no longer pulling you down. Because for me, right when I know exactly what you're going through, right when I started getting to that point was when it was like, this shit's fun.
Right.
And when you get to the point to where you can actually do the things that you want to do and be Ryan Hanley, I mean that as a compliment. Like that's when it's going to be extremely fun to watch for myself and everybody else who's keeping an eye on you.
Dude, so I was talking to Paradiso this morning, and
Name drop.
Yeah, Paradiso. So I the worst part is when I start talking to him, like where we end up, you're just like, I'm like, God, I wish I was like 2 years and $1 million ahead, because fuck all the things that we could do. Like you're just so much you can do. But like, so we were talking about, and I'm not ready to share this in public yet, which is probably odd for most people, but there is a tool that exists in the marketplace right now that for the agencies that are able to integrate this, and it has to do with certificates. And I think specifically if you focus on contractors, it is a complete game changer. It is a complete and utter game changer. And, I think about things like if I could build a marketing process into both my CRM and my agency management system around this certificate management tool, you literally, there's no contractor that would say no to you, because every other agent still has Brenda, getting on her horse and riding the certificate over to wherever. And now this would be a one-stop self-service, all-inclusive history of every cert they've ever had. It's out of this world. And I'm sure if you Google it, you can figure out what tool I'm talking about. But like, I think about that, right? Today, I have absolutely no ability to plug that into my agency. Zero.
Very well said. Yes.
But in my head, I'm like, I'm 6 to 12 months from plugging that in. And when I do, all you fuckers better get out of my way, because it's going to be like a freight train coming down. And I'm not the only one, right?
Right.
Bradley, Cass, Mitch, eventually when you get out of your IMAP pop, you'll be able to do this shit too. Like it's not 1997 anymore, bro.
Well, what happens?
If it makes you feel any better, I was born in 95. So just,
that's, you're using.
Are you dealing, sorry, Hanley, are you dealing with any like friction from the local insurance agents that you're competing against? Because that's the reason I say that. For me, when I started my agency, it was like all the other independent, not all of, but a good amount. The vibe I was getting through the rumor mill was like, oh, that's cute. That podcast guy started independent. And then about a year and about 14 months in, we started writing some big accounts, and it was like, oh shit, like they're not going anywhere.
So because of COVID, I don't interact with many of the local, if it wasn't COVID, I would have went to some events and bumped into some people. So I haven't really seen too many. I'm sure they don't like me or think that I'm just, pat on the head. But, I'd say with the Capital Region Business Podcast, with all the marketing and social that I do, with the carriers that we have, it's like in certain aspects, and I don't mean to just talk about my business. I just think there's a lot of agents who I think, and really business professionals in general, who are in this place where you have these big ideas. And I'd say 2020, I made a lot of mistakes thinking that I could implement things that I wasn't ready to implement. So for me, I said, okay, I'm going to push some of these things out, be reasonable, but build towards them, knowing that 2 years, 3 years from now is like this. And if you can get there, it's another level. I as far as local agents, Matt Wood from Mets Wood is here in the local area. I go and have dinner with him like every other month. So he and I get to get along very well. I don't really know anybody else.
My favorite statistic is that, how Libsyn lets you pull up downloads by city?
Yeah.
My local area is like number 4, and no agents here are like, hey, I love the show this week, but I'll have umpteen from like, yeah, you guys are listening.
Oh, for sure.
Well, here's another thing too, and this has been a really good strategy for me. I guess this is just me starting out. So maybe I'm just behind the eight, or, I'm just behind the 8 ball and you guys have already done this. But like one thing that in November, December, and starting off in January, I've probably wrote $20,000 to $30,000 worth of premium from local captive agents that have sent me business. So I've become, making sure I'm developing those relationships with those, captive agencies, those captive businesses all over the county, which in return I've been their kind of go-to guy for those tough risk commercial lines accounts that they can't write. And I'm okay with that because I'm not trying to write their personal, and I have that agreement with them. But that has done really well. So young agents out there listening, and you're in a small town or you're in a, big city, start making those relationships with those captive agents. I mean, you're not going to compete with those guys at all. I mean, just flat out, you're not going to compete with them. You've got a better product. You got a better service probably. And if you are in a captive, I don't mean that in a bad way. Just being on the independent side of things, it's I can never see myself ever leaving the independent side. I think once you come over from captive, you won't leave the independent side, but growing and building strong relationships with those captive businesses or those captive agencies could really help boost your book of business in their first 2 or 3, maybe 4 years of getting in the insurance business. Am I correct, guys?
Yeah, you are correct. And hey, man, I got to let you guys know, I got to get out of here. I got a podcast that I got to do at 9:00. So I apologize for this. I got lots of notes, but I didn't get a chance. Hanley's hyped up today. So I do appreciate you guys. And I do think
you got 7 minutes. Why don't you rattle them off?
No, I can't. Centers of influence are a very big key. And I think that you're exactly right on that. I was not one to do that. I went after real estate agents. I got them licensed and I paid them commission. That was a lot of work. I tried a lot of things when I was first out. And that's why today I don't think that I'm any better than anybody else, because everybody that's talking about their stuff here is going to work. And I think that's the thing I want young agents to take away, is that I want you to, it was really Bill Wilson put in the mastermind. He said that I'm going to mess this up, but he said the old way is not necessarily wrong. It's just that the new way might be different. And I think that that's important, because I think the wisdom of the old people, of the older generation, the veterans, I don't give a shit. I'll be over 50 here in 8 years, and people will be calling me old. That's cool. It just happens. Some of these people that get irritated by someone calling them old, did no one tell them when they were younger that they got older? That's the thing I always wonder. But as you're a young agent out there, centers of influence are absolutely huge, whether they can give you insurance or not. There was somebody that said one time that you hang around 250 people. The average wedding or reception will have 250 people. This is something that's still true today. So where are those 2 or 3 people inside those other 250 people that you're not a part of? And that's some of the stuff that you're doing. So I'm over and out. 10-4, guys. Gotta go.
Thanks, Cass.
See you,
Yeah,
man.
thanks, Cass. I guess feeding off of that,
I got to run at 9:02, but I can hang.
Perfect.
Yeah,
You're
me
fine.
A little bit.
Bradley, let's go around the room real quick. If there was one, social media tool or strategy, and that can be either app that you use to create content. I know you've got guys that help you create, but you still kind of create some of your own. Hanley, you create your own. I create my own. Heath, you create your own. So kind of going around, Bradley, what is it? I mean, if there's a tool or tactic or idea that can help an agent out in the world, what idea could you give?
The problem with that question is you can't just do one thing. But if I were to go into an agency that's not doing any social media or anything online and start something, as long as they're somewhat of an interesting person and well-spoken, I would go the local podcast route without knowing any other context, just because I think you can go so tactical with it. And if it's not working, like my show that I do here doesn't have a ton of viewers or listeners, but you can go so tactical with it where you're literally interviewing your prospects. Take your prospect list and interview them, and just use that as a mechanism to get in front of them is incredibly valuable. And I know everybody listening that's listening to my other stuff is like, man, this sanitation account Bradley has is the only damn account he has. It's just Dad gave me permission to like tell the story, But to me, that's what I would do. Without knowing anything else.
And not only just doing the, like I said, interviewing the prospects, but you personally, your personal brand or your business, you can use that content within that episode to create strong pieces, quote, whatever it could potentially be to use for social. So whether it's a crappy episode or not, you can still take great things from it. Hanley, what you got?
And I have no problem telling people that I have people that do it for me, because for 6.5 years, I did everything myself.
Right. So he's delegating to spend more time writing new business, doing all that kind of stuff. Get the business.
As soon as we get off this, I'm going to send this recording to him sitting right outside that door and say, there you go.
I was about to say, how many cameras do you have on you right now? You got a crew that follows you everywhere you go.
Just the one. Yeah. He doesn't get here till about 9.
I got you. But normally you have a crew following you everywhere you go.
Not following.
While he sleeps, while he eats, while he uses the restroom.
That's one. I think you have to be very careful.
Show, baby.
You have to be very careful with that you don't go douchey. I don't want to show up to a meeting and have a camera guy following me. And I think being around Gary V, the one people ask me like, what's the biggest surprise or thing you've learned? It's like, he gives the impression that they're filming 24/7. They're not. They film like 2 to 4 hours a day. And we may film 1 hour here, but you get so much footage as long as you're filming the right thing. So I mean, I have an agent now that we're helping with his content that's doing a weekly vlog like we do, and he's filming it all himself. Like, as long as you set the time to do it and it's the right thing, you can get enough footage out of it. Well,
I was going to say, to give a plug to Making the Donuts. I watch, it's my favorite reality show now. It seems like you're followed like the Truman Show every step you take.
I'm just trying to document what's going on in my agency. That way people in the community feel like they know us. And so we can look back on it 10 years from now and it'll be really, really cool. And if I'm going to have him here, like, we're going to do some kind of vlog,
Yep, I agree. I guess real quick.
When is this going to post? When's this going to post?
Yet. I haven't decided. Once 6 years ago, Bradley Flowers gets done editing it.
I have an announcement. We're making the donuts, a big surprise that's coming in a couple weeks. So heads up on that.
It'll be before that.
Yeah. So I'm going to keep it to myself.
All right. Sounds good. Hanley, what do you got for all the young or even new agents out in the world who are trying to get things going better on social, digital, or any type of things online?
I have two thoughts. One, just something is better than nothing. Do something, right? Pick a thing. I'd say don't do everything. I agree with Bradley. He likes podcasting. I think podcasting is great. I have a local podcast. But I'd say pick a thing, whether it's LinkedIn posts or it's video or whatever. Like, I'll tell you, this is maybe a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing. I've just published 6 YouTube videos during this podcast. Like, literally while we were podcasting, I produced 6 YouTube videos. I think another thing to consider that has equal value is video. And it can be raw video on your phone. It can be more produced video. Literally every one of my videos looks exactly the same. I have the same setup. The camera sits in the same place. All the lights sit in the same place. I turn the lights on. I turn the camera on. I do my videos. I turn them off. They're all templatized. So it's not this crazy creative thing. And the reason I do that is because I'm going for volume and building out a library of content. And that's my goal for it. But I think video, because here's the deal. If someone's reading, you're really getting one sense. You're getting your visual. If someone's listening to a podcast, they're getting one sense, audio. If they're watching a video, even if they give you 2 minutes of their time, they're dedicating 2 senses, audio and visual. So it's wedged deeper into their brain. That's why even, I'd rather have 100 views on a video than 1,000 podcast downloads, because those 100 people, they feel like they know me. They can pick me out of a crowd. They understand my mannerisms. They understand my tone of voice, the inflections I use, my pacing. They feel like they know who I am. Not that you can't get that from a podcast, but I'm just saying, if for me, an alternative to podcasting is video, and I think video is wholly underutilized in our industry.
I agree. And using the podcasting and video at the same time, like what we're doing right here.
You can do that too.
Audio, but making sure you got the video aspect. I know you two have. Everybody's got to run here. The mayor, Heath, Insurance Town Podcast. What are you thinking about doing? I guess 2021.
A quick thought. One of the things I echo what they say, but something else that I've noticed that I love is on LinkedIn. One of the things that I love the most is it shows when you go, like if you go search Ryan Hanley, you can see in his activity who's commented on his stuff, where he's commented. And I like to follow where other people comment on other people's posts and see what they're doing on that. I think that's a huge thing that people may not know about with LinkedIn. If they do, you need to focus on some of that. Find people that are influential, find people that post cool stuff, find stuff that matters to you, comment on that. And then when people go search you or other people, they're going to see what you're commenting on and what's important to you. I think that drives a lot of traffic, not only to your social, but also helps expand your brand. And I think it does a lot for you. And so if you're listening to this and you're not plugged into LinkedIn because you think it's old or not cool or whatever it is, it's so valuable. And
if I had to get rid of every platform and keep one, I'd probably keep LinkedIn.
I'm with you
100%. I 100% agree, because the thing is, people try to sell. People try to sell too much on LinkedIn.
So if you do the opposite, you're going to do well. And notice what people are doing and comment on that. I get so many, people talk to me about what I comment on other people's stuff. It's really cool.
Right.
I could not agree with you more.
Well, I'll leave it at this, and I think it goes back even to Bradley's kind of pyramid scheme on how he uses it. But I'm same thing. Huge video podcast guy. I like mine more videoed. I try to use my video more than the audio. I actually do extremely well on numbers, more video wise, in the use of social with that episode, and then a local TV channel that shows the episode. I do better doing that than I do the audio via Apple Podcast, Spotify, whatever it is. So that's why I focus more on video. Plus, I'm better on camera. I talk with my hands, I have expressions, and people can get to know me and understand me better, similar to Hanley. But you should be able to turn that, 30 to 45 minute podcast episode into 50 different pieces of content from, if Hanley's doing a video about workers' compensation insurance and Rogue Risk 365, he can turn that video into maybe a small clip portion. He can turn those clips or that video into a blog, which is an email blast, which is a post for LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is. One thing can turn into multiple pieces. It's just trying to be creative and doing it.
Not if you got that IMAP, though.
Can we appreciate the fact that Mitch has a TV show? I feel like
yes.
we haven't acknowledged that enough. Like
I do. No one even know, and I don't even. I guess I don't really talk about it. And it was kind of more at the beginning of the show. We have where I went to high school. We have a radio and television program, and I broadcasted basketball games, football games, whatever. Well, 9 Star just took over the channel and the radio station for that. So they host it all, right? Well, the radio and television director goes, dude, can we use this? He goes, we need time slots filled. And I'm like, yeah, sure. I don't care. He's probably going to put me in some time slot on a Tuesday at 8 a.m. in the morning when no one's watching TV on Channel 9. No, he puts it Saturday and Sunday from 7 to 8 p.m. on their channel, on 9 Star's channel, which is freaking awesome for me. It's like,
Amazing.
Hey, can I start putting an insurance show on there too? So people can, start buying insurance from me. But it does in return, does a great job, because then people look who Mitch Gibson is, what's he doing? And then once they see insurance, they're going to say, oh, at Renew, I need to give Mitch a call because he likes the community. He's passionate about the community. And that's the guy I want to do business with. And that's, I guess, kind of the end all be all of what we all are trying to do. And I mean, the only person I really can, toot and thank is Bradley. I mean, if it wasn't for Bradley taking that time to talk with me, I wouldn't have ever started this podcast. And I would be back, 400 steps behind and wouldn't even be sitting here talking to you guys today. Hell, I wouldn't even own a microphone, to be honest with you.
when I give keynotes and I go through that podcast strategy, I use the example that at the end, I'm like, oh, by the way, Mitch has a TV show now. And everybody's like, what? I want a damn TV show. I'm like, I'm not promising that.
But it goes back to just making relationships and understanding the concept behind it and not trying to upsell yourself or sell a product or service during it.
Here's the very last thing I'll say before we get out. You have to want to do this.
True.
Don't do this because Mitch does it and it seems cool or Bradley does or whatever. Like, I am a content guy. I've been at this for 12 years. I've been creating content for 12 years. There was a time when I had a podcast in the marketing space that got more downloads than Gary Vee show. I was doing 40,000 downloads a month. Like I've been doing this for a very long time. So I love it. Bradley loves it. Mitch loves it, right? Heath, you love it. If you're not into it, don't do it, because the negative brand impact from just going through the motions because you feel like you should, it's not worth it. That doesn't mean you shouldn't try if you're not, you don't have to be like over the world passionate, but it's like any other business practice or process. You have to be willing to commit to it. That's the only thing I'm going to say is you don't want to toe dip this. You don't want to go, oh, I'll do a show once a month and see what happens. Because I'll tell you what's going to happen. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So that's just commit or don't commit. Think about it like every other business decision. And if you think it's something that could work and you be into, go for it, because I do think it's huge. But if you don't and you're not into it, it's not your thing, that's okay. There's plenty of other ways to bring business in your agency.
Yep, I agree.
And if the bottom of the totem pole wants to do it, it's okay to let them do it, right? If they're not going to screw you over, and if they are the type of person to screw you over, it's your fault for leaving them around long enough to do that.
Yes. Yeah.
It's going to help your brand to have little Johnny doing it.
Yeah, because people are going to call there and say, hey, I want Johnny. And you as agency owner are getting the benefit of that.
Yeah, and I think too that's the last thing I'll leave it with, and I'll kind of close up here. But I'm speaking right now primarily to young agents, and I'm working on some stuff with the AI Agency Intelligence podcast on my sectored show that could be potentially coming here soon. Primarily towards the young, new, fresh agent, is they struggle with what their boss or what their employer or the agency principal owner has to say about them creating branded content. It might have to be something you do after hours before work because you might be on a time crunch and they're monitoring what you're doing, the calls you're making. For me, my agency principal owners are amazing for me because they let me do what I want. I've gained the trust with them that I'm going to, build the brand up of the agency. I'm going to build up my personal self as an agent, and everybody's going to be happy at the end of the day, all doing the right things. So if you have questions about that, feel free to reach out to any of us. I mean, we can help you kind of talk through that process of how to have that conversation with that agency principal.
Reach out to Bradley.
Yeah. He's got more time than all of us. He's got
more content. So
he'll take it up. Well, guys, once again, I appreciate you all joining the show or joining wherever you're listening to this. We're all going to kind of collaborate here and use this out as much as we can. I know the first half of this show was it was the Ryan Hanley show.
I apologize for that. This is my fourth phone call since 7 a.m. So I came in very, very hot. It's taken me a few minutes to settle down. So
you're good. No, I'm glad because it gives us a chance to be able to put it on somebody's insurance podcast as well, if need be. But wherever you're listening to it at, if you guys ever have any questions, concerns, anything, let us know. We're all here to help. That's what this industry is about. That's what all industries are about, is helping one another. We're not competing against each other. We're trying to help each other. So appreciate you joining the show, everybody. Bradley, Ryan, Heath, appreciate it. And we'll catch you guys next time on whatever the hell you're listening to this on. Take care. Appreciate you guys. You can make a difference.
Thanks, guys.
You guys
love it.